Sam Smyers here. Today I want to talk about how to mix your background vocals with Ableton stock plugins. So let's go ahead and jump into the video. Before we get this video started, if you are not a subscriber yet, please consider giving my video a like and subscribing to my channel because that will help you stay updated with future videos just like this. We're just going to jump right into it. Let me go ahead and play the lead vocal with the instrumental. The lead vocal is going to be already mixed.
Say you ain't looking for love. Tell me we're just friends. And there ain't no chance for us. But that don't make no sense. Cause every day you call me up like a real boyfriend. Oh.
And now what we're going to do is we're going to listen to the harmony tracks that I have been provided. And these are going to be dry with no effects on them.
Like a real boyfriend. Only gotta say it once. I end up in your bed. Oh, I know. Actions speak much louder than your words. And it shows every time.
Let's go ahead and play those by themselves so you can hear what they sound like. Zoom this in.
Like a real boyfriend.
And then we've got some other phrases over here.
Still a pick on the phone.
Some here.
Oh, I know.
Basically, I was provided 4 different vocal tracks of harmonies. There's actually 2 different harmonies. There's one harmony that's going to be higher than the lead vocal, and then there's another harmony that's lower than the lead vocal. So I have 2 tracks of each harmony. Let's go ahead and play the high harmonies by themselves. These are going to be labeled the harmony 1. So I have a harmony 1 left and a harmony 1 right.
Like a real boyfriend.
And then I have a harmony 2 left and right.
Like a real boyfriend.
If you are only provided one harmony, then hopefully you have been provided at least 4 different takes of that harmony, because what you'll want to do is you'll want to pan 2 of those takes to the left and then 2 of those takes to the right, so that you have this nice wide harmony that is supporting that lead vocal. In my case, I was provided 4 harmony tracks, but 2 different harmonies. That would mean I was provided 2 takes of each harmony. The first thing that I want to do is I want to group all of my harmonies together and put them into a bus. Currently, I have my vocals all in this vocal group. What I'm going to do is group these harmonies together, and I will label this the harmony group. I zoomed into these harmonies, and what I'm going to look for is any timing issues. This track here is the lead vocal, and I want to check the timing of the harmonies compared to that lead vocal. If I look, I see some harmonies that kind of go past this phrase. What I could do is I'm going to turn off the grid, and I'm going to chop off the end, and then I'll add a fade by doing Option Command F, and that adds a fade to all of my harmonies.
Like a real boyfriend.
Now they all stop at the same time. I could go in even further and actually extend out this word here because it doesn't extend out as far as the lead vocal. Let's go ahead and go into the clip view, and then I will turn on my warp, and let's just go ahead and cut that so we can see it. I will insert some warp markers. To insert warp markers, you double click, and I will double click one at the end and then one here, and then I will drag this and make it a tad longer. Let's go ahead and make this clip a bit longer and extend this warp marker out. Now let's take a look at that word here. It's friend. Now it's the same length, and I'll fix this fade here. And let's go to this word here too, and I'll do the same thing. Let's go ahead and turn on the warp. And then let's extend out this clip a bit more. Insert our warp markers. And then extend this word out. And I'm going to hold down Option so that I can move this warp marker more freely. Now extend out that word a bit more. Now the timing is matched up more with that lead vocal. Okay. What I can do now is basically go through my harmonies, adjusting the timing of the harmonies so that they match up with that lead vocal. I can add fades to the beginning of phrases or the end of phrases, or go into the warp mode and adjust the words so that the timing is nice and tight with that lead vocal. I want to now pan them. I have this harmony 1 left. I'm going to pan that 100% to the left. And then I have the harmony 2 left, which I'll pan 100% to the left. And I'll do the same thing for these right harmonies.
Like a real boyfriend.
And this harmony left looks a bit louder than the other harmonies, so I'm going to adjust the level of this a bit.
Like a real boyfriend.
And this harmony 2 is going to be the lower harmony.
Like a real boyfriend.
I might actually make these a bit narrower instead of panning them 100% to the left and right. So let's go ahead and say I want to pan this to, let's do 25. And then I'll do the same for this harmony 2 right. I'll pan this about to 25. And let's listen to that.
Like a real boyfriend. Only gotta say it once. I end up in your bed. Oh, I know. Actions speak much louder than your words. And it shows.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the sibilant sounds. For background vocals, you can actually cut out any S sounds as long as you have that S sound in the lead vocal. There aren't too many S sounds in these background vocals, so this is going to be an easy task. If you have a lot of background vocals with those S sounds, then you might want to consider getting a deesser.
And it shows.
To locate an S sound, we see these football-looking waveforms here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that out. Like that. So that is cut out. Let's play it with the lead vocal.
And it shows.
Can't even tell a difference.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
Still a big on the phone.
This still, let me cut off this beginning of that still. And I'm just going to cut off the beginning of that word here. Let's check that out.
Still a big.
Okay.
Still a big on the phone.
And I believe there's one more somewhere else.
Oh, I know. Like a real boyfriend.
Those are all the S sounds. And then what I might do is go through and cut out any plosives. I hear this boyfriend here.
Like a real boyfriend.
Sounds like there's a bit of a plosive there with that B sound. And I'm going to go ahead and cut out that B sound here and add a fade.
Like a real boyfriend. Like a real boyfriend.
Okay.
And it shows. Still a big on the phone.
Notice how I'm going through those harmonies with the lead vocal and just listening to things like timing, plosives, S sounds, making sure that I'm getting these harmonies as clean as possible before I get into the mixing phase. Now that I have those cleaned up, what I'm going to do is start mixing these harmonies. For the mixing, what I'm going to start with is an EQ8. And for the EQ8, I'll put on a low cut.
Still a big on the phone.
We can actually low cut the harmonies pretty heavily because when you have multiple harmony tracks and multiple vocals, you can get a buildup of that low to mid range. As long as you have some mid to low range in your lead vocal, then you can actually cut out more of those mid to low range frequencies from your background vocals.
Still a big on the phone. Oh, I know what I like. Like a real boyfriend. Like a real boyfriend. Like a real boyfriend.
I'll cut off somewhere around 350 hertz. Once I do that, I'm going to add a compressor. For your compression settings for your background vocals, what you can do is you can compress your background vocals really heavily because you want your backgrounds to serve as like a bed, a nice bed for that lead vocal to sit on top of. In that lead vocal, you can have the dynamics while you have those background vocals sitting and cushioning that lead vocal. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn up this ratio. I'm going to go for like a high ratio. Let's go all the way up to 5:1 or so. I'll turn off that makeup. I'm going to have a relatively fast attack and a relatively fast release.
Like a real boyfriend. Like a real boyfriend. Like a real boyfriend. Like a real boyfriend. Like a real boyfriend.
What I'm going to do now is I'm going to duplicate this compressor. Now I have 2 compressors, each compressor knocking off a few dB of gain, and this is called running compressors in series. This helps you control the dynamics better than just using one compressor by itself.
Like a real boyfriend.
And I'll slightly adjust those settings. Now we have the EQ8, the 2 compressors. I'm going to add another EQ8. And let's see what other frequencies we need to cut out of these harmonies.
Like a real boyfriend. Like a real boyfriend. Like a real boyfriend.
This vocalist in particular has a very breathy sound. She has a lot of that high-end frequency range in her vocals. What I'm going to do is actually cut out some of that high-end frequency range from these harmonies because I don't want to make these vocals too harsh.
Like a real boyfriend. Like a real boyfriend.
I might focus around that 4 to 5 kilohertz range where we get some of that vocal presence.
Like a real boyfriend.
And then I'm going to actually add a high cut as well.
Like a real boyfriend.
Very mild, set it at maybe 10 to 12 kilohertz.
Like a real boyfriend.
And that's what it sounds like by itself.
Like a real boyfriend.
And without that EQ8. And then with the lead vocal.
Like a real boyfriend.
Of course, by itself, it doesn't sound as present, but that is the point. We want the presence to come from that lead vocal instead. Let's go ahead and check it out in the mix.
'Cause every day you call me up like a real boyfriend. Only gotta say it once. I end up in your bed. Oh, I know. Actions speak much louder than your words. And it shows.
What I might do is adjust the clip gain of some of these backgrounds just to balance them a bit more. This one looks like I could take some gain off of it. And then also this one here, it looks like I could take some gain off of it and possibly here. And I'm just leveling out this harmony so that it fits with the other harmonies. Then what I might do is if I didn't cut out the S's, I could add a deesser. And to do a deesser in Ableton, you can use the multiband dynamics. I could put this multiband dynamics on. And let's just, for this example, put these S's back. Now those S's are back. For the multiband dynamics, I'm going to turn off the low band and the high band, and I'm only going to be using this mid band. I'm going to leave this on. And then I'll focus the frequencies around the range where we get sibilance. This goes all the way up to 3 kilohertz, and then for this high, let's try 8. Then I'll switch this to above so that anything above this threshold will get compressed, and then I will change the ratio to 1 to infinity. Okay. Now we can hear some of those S's being compressed and reduced. You can use this multiband dynamics to take out a lot of the S's from your background vocals if you don't want to cut them out manually. That sounds good. Let's go ahead and add some reverb now. I have the reverb on and I'll put it into a group. And this will be the reverb chain. I'll rename this to reverb. And then I'll create a new chain, right click, and then Command R. This will be the clean chain. This reverb chain, let's change the quality to high, then raise up this decay time, turn that dry wet to 100%, and let's listen to that. Let's add on the low cut.
Like a real boyfriend. Like a real boyfriend.
And lower the reverb.
Like a real boyfriend. Like a real boyfriend.
Let's check out all the vocals.
Like a real boyfriend.
I'm using a relatively long decay time, about 2 seconds. That's kind of like a halt time. But I'm using this reverb very low in the mix. What I could do now is I could EQ that reverb. So I could go to my EQ8 and then put another EQ after that reverb.
Like a real boyfriend.
and cut off some of the highs and some of the lows.
Like a real boyfriend, only
Now let's check out the full mix.
like a real boyfriend, only gotta say it once. I end up in your bed. Oh, I know.
Now what I need to do is I need to adjust the level of my bus.
Like a real boyfriend, only gotta say it once. I end up in your bed. Oh, I know. Actions speak much louder than your words, and it shows every time I right back where I was. Even though you always give me reasons to go, still I pick on the phone.
I'll start with that, and then what I can do is I can automate the harmonies to come up in this phrase here. And then so it's quieter in the verses. What we could also do is if you want your harmonies to have a bit more thickness to them, you can add a chorus plugin. Choruses work really well for background vocals. Let's go ahead and put a chorus on. And I'll put this chorus before my reverb so that I'm not adding chorus to the reverb. Let's check out the chorus.
Like a real boyfriend, like a real boyfriend, like a real boyfriend.
You could use the chorus to get more lushness out of your background vocals if you feel like they're lacking or they sound too thin. Throw in a chorus and then mix it in so that it's not 100%, but something like here I've got 20%, you can try 50%. Mix it in so that it adds some nice width and lushness to those background vocals. Sometimes what chorus does is it actually reduces the presence of your vocals. If I leave this chorus on, I might choose I want to make these harmonies a bit louder. Let's take off the automation, delete the automation, and raise it up a bit.
Like a real boyfriend, like a real boyfriend, only.
And then maybe I would set it to something a bit louder with that chorus plugin on. For these harmonies in particular, I'm going to leave the chorus off, and I'll keep it relatively simple. As you can see, the steps for mixing your background vocals were to clean them up, clean up any of the S's, any of the plosives, make sure the timing sounded good, make sure all the levels were good, set the panning, and then go through the whole mixing process. Take off some of that low end, add 2 compressors, or you can do 1 compressor or 3 compressors. Just make sure that you're controlling that dynamic range and you can compress them heavier than a lead vocal. Then we're going to add another EQ8 to fix anything else that we can hear in the mix. In this example, I took out some more of the high end, and then we can do some de-essing if we're not cutting out the S's manually. And then we can add on our effects. We can do something like a light reverb, or even if you don't want to do a reverb, you can add a delay. For the effects, I usually keep the effects pretty simple because I usually have on my lead vocals reverbs, delays. For my backgrounds, I don't want them to clutter up that lead vocal too much. So I usually keep the effects pretty simple on my backgrounds. There you have it. That is how you mix your background vocals in Ableton Live with stock plugins. I hope you found this helpful, and if you did, please go ahead and give this video a like and subscribe to my channel because that will help you stay updated with future videos just like this. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.